Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I just filmed a reading about the DDG and Halle Bailey situation. And I say I just filmed it because I filmed it completely and now I'm filming the intro. So I'm filming the intro after I already filmed the reading. Sometimes I like to go in that order because sometimes it just makes more sense and it makes the process easier. Anyway, so yeah, I filmed a video or a reading about the DDG and Halle Bailey situation. I didn't go too far in depth about how she's feeling because I wanted to just kind of protect her energy, protect her privacy. And, I didn't want this to turn into kind of like a gossip reading, like, oh, let's spy on them. I don't want it to be that. I more so wanted to tap into just the energy of that situation because I feel like it represents a larger problem within the collective where we're just seeing like these very narcissistic people, specifically narcissistic men, targeting and abusing these women who are in the public eye, like these successful women in the public eye. So we've seen it with, Cardi B and what she's going through with Offset. We've seen it with the Wizard Liz, who's the YouTuber and influencer, and what's going on right now with her child's father. And now we're seeing it with this Halle Bailey situation and DDG. So we're seeing this so blatantly in the public eye. And that's why I wanted to tap into this energy just to get a feel for what exactly is going on collectively. Because when these things happen to celebrities, like people can look at it as gossip and they can look at it as like, oh, y'all are so invested into these celebrities' lives. But no, like these celebrities, when something's going on with them, it can really show you what's going on in the collective. Like it can really show you like what a lot of people are experiencing right now. So the same way that Halle Bailey is experiencing what she's going through and it's being like broadcasted on a wide scale. There are plenty of people right now that are going through that. It's just not being broadcasted. So when it's being shown and when her story is being shown, a lot of people will be triggered. A lot of people will see themselves within that situation. And a lot of people will then, start doing some shadow work based on being triggered by seeing these people play out these situations in the public eye. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is that celebrities, when they're going through things, it can be a way of tapping into the collective energy and doing shadow work on an individual level and on a collective level. So yeah, I wanted to tap in, see what messages come through. And I also wanted to see like what will happen to men like this, to narcissistic men. Because one thing that I am seeing as well, like reoccurring, is that a lot of women who have been through through situations like this, just feeling really discouraged because it just feels like these men are getting away with these things. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like these men are able to spin the narrative and, like sway public opinion. Like they have like a bunch of people calling their victim a liar, and they're playing the victim and running a smear campaign against their actual victim. So that can be very disheartening to see as a survivor of abuse. And I just wanted to look into what exactly ends up happening to these types of men karmically, because trust and believe that karmic energy is going to turn around and it is going to boomerang, So that's what I wanted to look into in this reading as well. So yeah, we can go ahead and dive into the reading now. My personal readings are open as well. So if you are in need of any type of clarity or closure about any situation, especially about situations like this, like if you were in a situation with any type of toxic individual or narcissistic individual and you're looking for clarity, you're looking for closure, you could definitely book me for that because a lot of my clients come to me for that exact reading or that exact reason. And honestly, those are my favorite readings to do because there's just no better feeling than being able to give somebody that relief of, their mind has been spiraling about a situation and then, they get this reading and now they say, oh, this is the first time I've been able to sleep peacefully in months. Like that's just a great feeling. So I enjoy doing those types of readings the most, but you can ask questions about anything, honestly. But yeah, link to that will be in the description box. And let's go ahead and get into the reading. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. Just so this won't get confusing, I am just going to be referring to DDG in this reading, but just know that when I'm referring to DDG, I'm really referring to the collective of narcissistic men who are just like him. So he is just a representation of a bigger collective problem, but we're just using him as like the archetype of the problem. So yeah, when you hear me referring to him throughout this reading, just know I'm talking about narcissistic men and the ones who are on his frequency and who behave exactly like him, that we continuously see these cycles of abuse play out with, especially in the public eye. So I wanted to really look at, what happens to people like him. And I wanted to also just look at like just behind the scenes, like what goes on in their minds when they're just doing all of this like foolishness. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. And I'm hoping that this will bring comfort to anyone who has dealt with someone like this, just to know that there will be, justice, that the scales will be balanced. So what I'm seeing is that his actions that he is taking right now, these actions are actually setting him up for his own demise. So everything that he's doing is like he's trying to control the narrative. He's trying to control the story, trying to make her look unstable, trying to, play the victim card. And it's all coming from pure ego, like pure ego it's coming from. And again, that's what makes a narcissistic person. Like, anybody can be narcissistic. Not everybody has full-blown NPD. Like, not everybody has narcissistic personality disorder, but anybody can be narcissistic as long as they completely lack empathy. So they're low on empathy, and they have a very, very, very selfish drive to feed their very toxic, fragile ego. And they will feed that ego at the expense of other people. Like, they will destroy a person, destroy them completely, just to feed their own ego. So yeah, it's coming from a place of pure, just narcissistic ego, lack of empathy. He's not acting from a place of truth. So he's not being truthful with the things that he's doing at all. And he's not coming from a place from the heart. I'm feeling all of his energy, like in his mind. So he's constantly like strategizing in his mind, completely disconnected from his heart, which does not shock me, because you can't do some of the things that you do. Or you can't do certain things to people, especially like the mother of your children, if you were connected to your heart. Like, it just doesn't make sense. He's definitely acting to, protect his energy, to protect his image. You see how I almost said protect his energy? Like, that's his lying ass energy coming through. Like, his excuse is that I'm protecting my energy, I'm protecting my peace, I'm the victim here. Like, that's what's going on in his mind, or like he's trying to convince other people of that story. But really what he is doing is trying to protect his image. Like, so he's putting on this facade as if he's trying to protect his heart and protect his like inner world. And like, that's the thing that I'm picking up on that's so backwards, is that while these types of people will destroy your heart and destroy your inner world, they'll turn around and act like they're doing it to protect themselves and to protect their inner world. It's like they flip reality on its head. It's just so, yeah, that's why narcissistic abuse can really put you in an early grave. It can send you to the hospital, because having your reality flipped upside down like that is not normal whatsoever. The image that I'm seeing intuitively is like when you're on a roller coaster and you like get flipped upside down. And I don't know if you ever saw those videos where the roller coaster actually stops mid-air. Like the roller coaster that got, like any roller coaster that got stuck while it was upside down, and how terrifying that must be. Yeah. And also how terrible that must be for your health. Like, if you were stuck on a roller coaster upside down for a long period of time, all that blood rushing to your head, like, yeah, that would have some type of like health complications if it was something that you had to go through long term, So that's kind of the image that I was getting intuitively. It's like they turn everything on its head, and they can really like mess you up mentally and physically, like your health. So make no mistake about it. Like, this is emotional abuse, but it's also physical, because the stress of it will physically break your body down. But yeah, everything that he's doing, like everything that he's trying to weaponize, it's going to end up just boomeranging right back to him. So, his public image is eventually going to crack. Him trying to look like he's in control, it's going to start to come off as desperate. Like, people are going to start to really, really see his desperation. But that's the crazy thing. It's like people already see through it, though. Like, I can't even sit here and say like, oh, everyone's fooled. No, like, I feel like people are already seeing through it. I think his fans are just, I don't think his fans are delusional. Like, I don't think that his fans are sitting around thinking he's genuinely a good person. I think that well, there's some, because a lot of them are young and impressionable, but I feel like a lot of them are just very misogynistic, and they themselves have treated people the exact way that he has treated her. Like, the things that have been revealed through messages and stuff like that, like, he has treated her in a way that a lot of his fans have treated other people as well. So when they see him getting publicly bashed, rightfully bashed for what he's doing, the fans who identify with him because they've done certain things like that behind the scenes, they're rallying to try to clear his name, and they're hoping that his name gets cleared, because then it makes them feel clear, like it makes them feel absolved of the things that they've done, or it just makes them feel safe to know that they're never going to be exposed for it, or they're never going to face consequences for it. Because if somebody that big on a public platform was able to get away with abusing somebody that big in the public eye, like, she played the Little Mermaid on Disney. So if he could get away with doing the things that he did to her in the public eye, then a lot of these fans that have done similar things, they will feel like, I can get away with it too. It emboldens them. Like, it makes them more bold to do the things that they do. So people see through it, for the most part, but there are a few that are delusional, who do believe, like, oh, he's just trying to be a good dad, and they were both toxic for each other. Like, okay. Okay. So there's people who still believe that, but the more that he tries to be in control of his image, then you're going to start to see him come off as more and more desperate. And his effort to do any type of more damage to her, yeah, it's going to unravel his credibility even more. So right now he looks like he's in power. He might feel like he's in power even, but he's actually setting himself up for self-destruction. So what I'm seeing here is that justice, it really starts with exposure, and that's the thing, that's what these people fear so much, is what I'm hearing intuitively. They fear public exposure because that's where justice starts. Justice starts with public exposure. And that makes sense that that's coming to me intuitively, because I'm thinking about the fact that Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra. Am I saying that right? Whenever I'm channeling messages and then I try to click over to the logic side of my brain, it's like I forget all my any logical facts that I have. Because there's the part of your brain that reads tarot that's more intuitive. Oh my God. I'm even trying to switch over, I'm stumbling over my words. There's a part of the brain that's intuitive that you read tarot, and then there is a part that is more logical that I tap into more when I'm reading birth charts and doing anything astrology related. So yeah, I hope I said that right. But yeah, Saturn is exalted in Libra. I believe I said that correctly. And so Libra is the sign of justice, and so Saturn is the sign of your public reputation. So that makes sense that with Saturn being exalted in Libra, that being exposed is the first act of justice. That's where justice usually comes from, exposure. And so that's why a lot of these narcissistic people, specifically narcissistic men, they try to stop justice from happening. They try to stop the scales from balancing, because a fair world, a balanced world, they won't be able to thrive in, because you can't get your sick, fragile ego fed in a balanced and fair world. The way that they like to get their ego fed, they can't do that in a balanced and fair world. So they have to keep things off balance. So if justice starts with exposure, then they're going to try to intervene. They're going to try to stop the exposure from actually taking place. See what I'm saying? So that justice and the scales won't be balanced. They're trying to prevent that from happening. So this is bigger than just, two people or just a couple of couples arguing. This is feeling like spiritual warfare type stuff. This is feeling like divine feminine energy, versus karmic masculine energy, how society is ran on this karmic, this toxic masculinity instead of the divine masculinity. So yeah, it's some message trying to come through about that. This is just bigger than just them. This is about how this realm is imbalanced, because of the power imbalance when it comes to the narcissistic masculine energy within this realm. And they don't want the scales to be balanced. Because again, if this world was fair and just, and feminine energy was not demonized, because that's the only way this world would be fair and balanced, is if feminine energy was actually embraced and not demonized. So if this world was fair and women were treated properly, then they wouldn't be able to get their egos fed. They wouldn't be able to feed their demons, is what I'm hearing. Their fragile ego being referred to as demons intuitively is what I'm hearing. And that doesn't mean like demons as in like, oh, I'm seeing demons like walking around and jumping out of bodies. You know, some people do see that, but I don't see it that way. I more so see like narcissistic people. I do believe that they definitely have entity attachments. And I definitely believe that they feed that entity, like with the things that they do. Like when they're feeding their ego, they're feeding that entity. And the reason I say that is because of like things that I've seen spiritually over the years of dealing with narcissists, things that I've heard over the years with dealing with narcissists. But not even just that, like there's a book that I read by a diagnosed narcissist, and he said himself there's like a beast or something living inside of him. And he said that if he doesn't feed that beast by feeding his ego, which he said the best source of ego supply is when he is causing his spouse distress. Like when he's hurting his spouse, that's when he feels the most high. He said that's when the beast is fed the most. So yeah, like what does that sound like to you? You know what I mean? Like it's not even on no like spiritual psychosis, like horror movie, paranormal activity, whatever. It's not even on that. Like this is something that's like a real thing. This is not something that it's just like a spiritual fairy tale. Like no, in fairy tales, they're like, I understand fairy tales are, you know, they're supposed to be fictional, but even fairy tales have truth in them. And you notice in fairy tales there is always like a villain or something of that sort in the fairy tale. Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling, but yeah, y'all get what I am trying to say. So yeah, getting back into the reading, I will say that there is a shift that's happening right now within the collective. Like there's a lot more public awareness. People are beginning to see like the pattern. Like people are starting to wake up and look around like, oh my God, like this realm is crawling with narcissists. More and more survivors are recognizing like what has happened to them. And so, you know, with the growing awareness, with more people watching, with more people speaking up, with people being less ashamed to come forward, yeah, it's like karmic pressure is building up is what I'm seeing. Karmic pressure, like these types of people can't keep getting away with these things because slowly but surely they're being exposed. And even though they're fighting against being exposed, the way that DDG is fighting against it by trying to flip it around and say, oh, she's crazy. Oh, she already had problems before me. Like they're fighting that. But it's like it's only so much you can fight that when more and more survivors start to come forward. You see what I'm saying? It's like slowly but surely they're not going to be able to keep flipping it around and saying, oh, this person's crazy or, oh, I didn't do anything to them. It's going to start to become very commonplace to know like, oh, please, that's reactive abuse. Like, I'm not believing you when you say that she's crazy because I've seen stuff like this before. And no, you were abusing her. You see what I'm saying? It's like people are waking up to what reactive abuse is. People are waking up to what manipulation and gaslighting is. Like, so narcissistic people are not going to be able soon enough to get away with it. Like, they're not going to be able to flip and spin the narrative. Is what I'm seeing here. So it's like, what I'm seeing here is like a courtroom. So the courtroom it's spiritual before it's legal, you know, which by the way, it's so crazy because like we see these things actually being handled in court and you see what is taking place in court. Like Halle was granted her restraining order. DDG was not, you know what I mean? Like the fact that these things are going to court and you see it working in the woman's favor or working in the person's favor who is not the narcissist, that gives you an indicator of what's going on in the spirit realm. Because spiritually, I'm seeing that people are going to be held accountable. Like I'm seeing like a courtroom spiritually. So it's like the courtroom, I'm hearing the courtroom is spiritual before it's legal. So he will be judged. He's going to be judged in the actual courtroom and also in the spiritual courtroom. So, and it's crazy. What comes to mind too is Meg Thee Stallion and how, I don't know what that man was thinking. Meg Thee Stallion is such a powerful, powerful soul. She has powerful ancestors, and she has a lot of Saturn in her chart. So yeah, the spiritual courtroom, he was already cooked. He was already done. And it was only a matter of time before he was done in the physical legal courtroom as well. Like, please. So yeah, that just kind of came to mind. The courtroom is spiritual before it's legal. So what I'm seeing also is that whatever legacy he's trying to build, it's going to rot from the inside out. So he's going to keep building his platform. Like, he can keep building his platform, but his mask is cracking. His mask is completely cracking. People are seeing through it. People have been seeing through it, but like, I'm seeing that people are really going to start to see through it, like, from this incident. And moving forward, like I said, it's going to be a bigger discussion, or like, it's going to be bigger within the collective consciousness of just realizing or seeing through these types of people. What I'm seeing behind the scenes also is that he's not protected spiritually. He's not. And he's dishonoring his bloodline by what he's doing. Like, he is dishonoring his bloodline, especially because this is the mother. Him and Halle have merged bloodlines now because they have a child. So he is disgracing his bloodline from what he is doing to her, because when you hurt the mother, you essentially hurt the child. Like, there's no going around that. People say like, oh yeah, well, you could be a good father and not a good husband, or a good father, not a good boyfriend. No, you can't. No, you can't. And I tell the men, I've told men in my life this before, like family members and stuff like that. I've told them, like, if you're going to date women, you should always treat them well, but you should especially be treating the mother of your children well. You should especially be treating just mothers in general well, because then it goes from you just mistreating a woman, which you shouldn't do, which there's karmic backlash for that anyway. But then it goes deeper, because now you mistreating her is affecting her ability to care and nurture her kid, care for and nurture her child. You know what I'm saying? Like, the happier a mother is, the better she's able to show up for her child. You see what I'm saying? So you stressing her into depression and psychosis and all of that. Like, you think that doesn't harm the child? Like, you can't be a good father and mistreat the mother of the child. It's not happening. So he is definitely dishonoring his bloodline. And because he's doing that, he's not protected spiritually. So he's trying to rally up protection in this realm. You know, he's trying to get the public on his side and, you know, rally up all his little fans and all that. But on a spiritual level, he's not protected at all. So he better keep trying to round up, you know, people. And again, I'm going to say this is alleged for entertainment purposes only, because I've heard readers actually say that they've done readings like this and been hit with like lawsuits or whatever. But again, this is for entertainment purposes. Disclaimer. But then also too, like I said, I'm not really talking directly about him. I'm more so talking about, when I say him, I'm talking about the collective of people who he represents. So I'm not directly speaking about him. This is about the collective. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, people close to him, they could start to turn away from him, like quietly, slowly but surely start to have fallouts with people, and start to become isolated almost, like his name starting to lose weight, his charming nature no longer seeming like people like are going to start to see the darkness in him is what I'm seeing. And again, there's like this energy that I'm picking up on again of like, even though people are seeing the darkness, there's still going to be people like him who are still going to try tooth and nail to fight to not be seen or not to be exposed, or to try to flip things around and make it seem like what he's doing is okay. But no, no, his charm will not charm forever is what I'm hearing, especially when it comes to like the courtroom. He can't use his charm in there. So yeah. In terms of like the legal territory, the same way he's trying to manipulate the public is going to backfire on him, and rebound on him inside of the courtroom is what I'm seeing. So I'm seeing here that even though it might be satisfying to see like a really dramatic takedown of these types of people, it could happen in a way that unfolds slowly. Like, he could be trying to build certain things and nothing that he builds ever sticks. No, like nobody that he is connected to stays really loyal to him, you know? Yeah, it's like, and his image and whatever he's trying to build just has no long-term power is what I'm seeing. It's like he's thinking, what I'm getting is that he wants to be really successful. Like, he wants to be a legend is what I'm hearing. He wants to be a legend. He wants to be God is what I'm hearing. And I've picked up that message so many times about narcissistic people. They want to be God. Like, they want to have like all this power here in this realm. the way that God does. They want to be able to have people bow down to them and do whatever they want. They want to be like this God-like figure that's always remembered for something great that they did. Like they want to just be like legendary, you know, they want to be larger than life. And that's simply not going to happen. And the crazy thing is that I'm seeing here that people, like narcissistic people, specifically men, who have this desire to be God, they have a tendency to try to siphon that power through women, that especially women that they consider to be powerful. They feel like if they can break this woman down, that it'll almost make them like godlike, which is just so ridiculous, because it's like, you're not God. You're not. And God's going to show you that you're not God. Like, you're really playing games. You're really not playing smart games by doing stuff like this. But yeah, I'm seeing like them trying to siphon energy so that they can be more powerful. And so it's like, it's a 3D thing, or it's a thing that's like an earthly thing, but it's also a spiritual thing. Like they want to feel like God, but the way that it shows up materially, like in this realm, is that they want to be like a big celebrity, or like they want to be like a legendary celebrity. I'm not saying that everyone wants to be a celebrity, wants to be God. I'm not saying that, but there's specific people that they want to be God. And in this earth, on this realm, the closest thing to that is being a celebrity. So a lot of them that want to be God and want to be legendary, they want to do it through being a celebrity. So if they can get a powerful woman and humiliate her, that feeds their ego and boosts them up. And if they can get a powerful woman who's already a celebrity and they can build themselves up off of her name, then that's even better for them. It's like killing two birds with one stone, you know. And if they get the woman pregnant, then it's like, now you really have a sense of control over her, you know what I mean? And have the power to really hurt her, which again it feeds into them wanting to play God, wanting to have that power. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I actually heard something, a disturbing intuitive download just now of they want to be able to take a life and get away with it. And because they can't physically take a life without going to jail, they want to be able to emotionally take a life. Oh, yeah, I didn't like that download. I didn't like the way that felt at all. Emotionally take a life, kill the person on the inside, because that makes them feel like God. They can't kill them externally because they'll go to jail. A lot of them do, actually. But it's like, to them, the next best thing is to kill a person internally, because that makes them feel like God, because they got to take a life. Oh, this is getting sick and twisted. It's been sick. It's been twisted. So he may look cocky right now, but spiritually, he's definitely scrambling. And he's actually desperate. His confidence is a facade. Like there's a level of like anxiety that's beneath the surface, that his confidence is desperately trying to hide. But he's aware on some level that he's not fully in control. Like he's trying to control it, but he knows on some level that like the cracks are forming and he's not fully in control. So yeah, the same boldness and the same recklessness, that he's been exhibiting to try to discredit her and to try to, you know, make her seem crazy, that's going to be the very thing that exposes him. So what I'm seeing here also is that, you know, the real justice comes from people's stories being told. So the collective, the survivors, you know, specifically the women, you know, we as a collective, we're already shaping the outcome by one, seeing it clearly. Just by us seeing it and being aware that it's happening, that's already a major, major powerful shift within the collective, because these types of forces, they can only continue when they're flying beneath the radar. You know what I'm saying? So it's like seeing them very clearly. Yeah, like that is the first step towards justice. So that's number one. But then the next step towards justice is when your story is spoken out loud. It's like the more people share, specifically women, share their story, so that there's less shame. I'm seeing there's a very big shame wound within the feminine collective of feeling ashamed because you might have reacted a certain way when you were being abused. Maybe you stayed with this person for an extremely long time and you feel ashamed of that. Maybe in public you were, praising this person and telling everyone how great they are, but behind the scenes they were doing terrible things to you and it was toxic and you just were trying to, you were just too embarrassed and wanted to upkeep your image. None of those things are anything to be ashamed of when you're in an abusive situation. But, us as a collective have been shamed and silenced due to the shame. So it's like the more women share their stories, the less power the opposition has, which is, it kind of reminds me of, on Twitter, somebody was like, oh, Halle, don't worry about those messages, girl. I've sent way worse, because DDG tried to post, he sent text messages to the court of basically Halle crashing out, quote unquote. Really what it was her with postpartum depression, and feeling like she wanted to take her own life due to postpartum depression and, accusing him of cheating and stuff like that. And he was just so cold and arrogant and smug and nonchalant in the messages, like just completely and totally disgusting. But he thought that those messages were going to make her look bad and make her feel ashamed. But here comes women coming forward and being like, I've said worse. I've done worse. Don't even worry about it, girl. This is a byproduct of being abused. And you can only imagine like the exhale that a lot of women let out when they saw that, because they've been carrying the shame of how they crashed out and how they, how they acted a fool basically when, this person was abusing them, and rightfully so. You should be acting a fool. You should be crashing out. You should be having those reactions when you're being abused, because abuse is extreme and it's abnormal, and nobody's system is wired to be able to just withstand that type of abuse for an intimate partner. So you're so much bigger than just your reactions to abuse. Like that's not the entirety of who you are. And you shouldn't be ashamed of your body's natural reaction to being violated. You see what I'm saying? So the more women tell their stories, the less they'll feel crazy. And the more, this type of abuse just cannot take place, because when it's brought into the light and when less women are feeling ashamed, then that's what breaks the cycle, So there is justice that's coming, emotional justice and spiritual justice. Because as of right now, everything is very imbalanced. At this point, people are silent. People are being silenced. And all that does is protects the wrong people, And also what I'm seeing a lot of is when these types of things get exposed, people are like, oh, all this drama, leave us out of it. Like there's the people who are saying this is just drama. I'm minding my business. No, it's not drama. It affects everybody on a collective level. It's not just drama. It's not just celebrity gossip. It's so much deeper than that. These celebrities, they're on, like I said, they're on like the world stage. They're on a big stage, and seeing them play out. Okay, maybe I shouldn't refer to this as the world stage, because I think that the world stage implies like the elites or the powers that be intentionally like doing certain things in order to like project an image of something that's going on, but really they're trying to distract us from something else. So scratch that. I don't think I should have described this as the world stage, because I don't feel like this is one of those things. This is more, I should more so say that when celebrities are in the public eye, they often are showing us something about ourselves, within ourselves or within the collective. And so it's not just drama. It's something that you should pay attention to if you're interested in collective healing and collective shifts and things of that sort. So ultimately, I'm seeing that the karma is going to unfold in 3 waves. Okay, it's going to be three stages to it. So short term, the cracks begin. So the people start to see through him. He gets more and more backlash, and his version of the story starts to fall apart more and more. And then the midterm consequences would be, him taking hits to his reputation, his ego spiraling even more, people in his inner circle starting to distance themselves from him, even if they don't publicize it behind the scenes. Yeah, distancing themselves from him completely. And also potential legal consequences for sure. Especially because what I'm seeing here is that the more he feels like he's getting away with what he's doing, the more careless and reckless he's going to be. So it's kind of like when someone does something diabolical and they get away with it, they'll end up doing it again, but they may end up doing it maybe even worse, or maybe in a more sloppy way that ends up getting them caught because they just got too comfortable and too cocky. Like, yeah, I got away with it before. And they try to use the same tactics again, but this time they're just so bold and so cocky that they end up slipping up, and yeah, legal consequences can follow. And the worst consequences, I would say, is the long-term ones, because what I'm seeing here is that he will never be a legend the way that he wants. He won't. And it's funny because the message that I saw, like the text messages, the screenshots of their messages, he said something along the lines of like, well, maybe I should just focus on being more successful like Jay-Z, like you said. I'm going to be big one day. I'm going to be a big owner of a label one day or something. Listen. First of all, I think this is funny. I do, because I just know that Halle was, that message let me know that Halle was fighting back, like verbally. I mean, like he probably was doing some terrible stuff to her, and she turned around like, that's why you're a flop. That's why your music flops. You need to focus on being more successful like Jay-Z. I don't know if she would come out and, I don't know her personally, so I don't know if she would come out and say that directly or how she would say it, but just judging by that text message, I can just imagine like that hit him in his heart for him to bring that up and be like, well, maybe I should just be more like Jay-Z. Yeah, this man deeply wants to succeed in life. He wants to be a mogul like Jay-Z. And the fact that she has ever mentioned to him and compared him to Jay-Z hit him in his ego very, very hard. And I find that funny. I wouldn't find it funny like any other circumstances, because, you know, putting somebody down about their dreams, that's actually really, really horrible. Like that's actually to me on the list of offensive, like terrible things you can do. That's the top 10. To know that somebody has a dream and to be like, it's not happening. To me, that's just completely evil. But I think it's completely fine to do when you're dealing with a evil person who's cutting you down and making you feel horrible. You know what I'm saying? Like if he was doing all that to her behind the scenes, and if she clapped back with that, hey, I'm not mad about it. But anyway, that's just me speaking. Let me tap back in. But yeah, he will not be a legend. And him trying to destroy her and stop her from reaching her legendary status, that would just make it even worse for him. You know, I once read a theory that, you know, when you try to hurt someone intentionally, all the blessing that you were supposed to get gets transferred over to them. So the fact that he's trying to cut down her legendary status, the fact that he came into her life at the peak of her career and did all of this and knocked her off her square the way that he did, that in itself is just going to pass up any blessing that he might have had and pass it right on to her. And the crazy thing is that he would have gotten further with her than by destroying her. And that's something that narcissistic, egotistical people don't understand, is that if they are on your side, or if they're on, your team, if you are like a righteous person, you're a chosen person, and you're walking like this path and you have this light in you, them being your partner would benefit them, and they would get so much further if they were to be good to you. Look at what's happening to A$AP Rocky and Rihanna. Look at them. Look at how he is flourishing in life. You want to know why he's flourishing in life? Because he's not a narcissistic psycho who's leading with his ego. I don't know who he is behind the scenes. What I do know is that he's not reading from the narcissistic playbook. And how I know that, or from what we've seen so far, how I know that is because a narcissistic person, once they got with Rihanna, they would intentionally destroy her, because that would be the ultimate narcissistic fuel and fantasy for them. But they wouldn't even understand that in the quest to destroy her, they would just be ultimately destroying their own success and future. So the fact that A$AP Rocky got with Rihanna, is treating her well, raising his kids well, it says nothing but wonderful things about her in public, and her about him as well. Again, this is not me idolizing their relationship because I don't know them, but you can clearly see he's not on a mission to destroy Rihanna. He is collaborating with her. They're building a life together, and you see he is like, this man is living his best life. And what these narcissistic men don't understand is that could have been them, but they chose the route of leading with their ego and trying to destroy the person. Look at Offset and Cardi. Look at them. Like, come on now. Offset, when he was doing like the family man thing, The energy that was buzzing around, like, I'm not, and people probably would say like, oh, well, Offset he already had his career. He didn't need her to build. Yeah, okay. But he would have gotten a million times further had he honored the mother of his child and his wife. Well, he has multiple children's mothers, but if he, he could have gotten so much further, but instead he led with ego. He wanted to cheat and do all this to her, to cut her down, to feed himself. They end up hurting themselves. The Beyonce song, Don't Hurt Yourself, like, that's an actual thing where karmically, like, you tell someone you love them, you join forces with them, like, y'all get into a relationship together, you're intimate with each other and all that, like, you're joining with this person, right? And then you hurt them, like, a piece of you is inside of them at this point. So you're hurting yourself. You're trying to destroy them and you're destroying yourself at the same time. So it just, and that's crazy because it's like, if you would have instead like built your partner up and respected them and loved them, that piece of you that's inside of them would have also grown. You see what I mean? So like, they're not moving too smart. They're not being wise. They're not. And it's a shame because they'll never know true like love and happiness and fulfillment. They won't, because when they are in the presence of someone who is great, and these types of people, they only want to be with someone who they consider great. Let's be clear. But when they're in the presence of that great person, they actually get to be in that great person's life. Their lower vibrational impulses take place. They kick in, and it just says, destroy, 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 destroy this person. It's going to feel so good. Destroy them. They can't even help themselves. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't even help themselves. They're sick in the head and spiritually sick. So yeah, long term, he's not going to reach legendary status, and he could have if he had done right by her, which is crazy. And his child is going to see the truth one day, and that will be like his final reckoning. So these things, the consequences are that they can play out slowly, but the long-term consequences is what hits them the most. So, and also just the consequences of him being himself. The very thing that he's accusing her of being, he's that. And he has to live with that. So the whole, like, she's crazy. He's crazy. Only a crazy person would come into somebody's life and strategically break them down piece by piece. That takes that's a psycho. So it's like, oh, she's crazy. Oh, she's unstable. This is someone also who broke into Halle's house and took pictures of her bed. But she's crazy? And she's unstable? This is someone who sicks his fans onto the mother of his child, sicks them on her, knowing that it's going to mess up her mental health and knowing that it's going to impact her ability to be a mother to her child. That's a psycho. And so it's like, these types of people, they have to live with everything that they accuse you of being. They have to. And you, like, it's painful that they project these lies on to you. But when you remove yourself from the situation at the end of the day, the lies are just that. They're just lies. But this person, that's their truth of who they are. And they have to live with that. They have to walk through life with that. So, yeah, I'm seeing here that, you know, for every person, especially women who have been humiliated and used and devalued and erased and called crazy after being abused, who had to watch back and who had to sit back and watch like their abuser be praised and propped up and believed and all of that, like these types of people, their mission is to destroy. And what I'm seeing here is that it's not going to succeed. So again, if you're the type of person or especially the type of woman that I described that has been humiliated, used, abandoned, called crazy, and then watch your abusers run off into the sunset and people supporting them, like, they're not going to succeed at breaking you, and the scales are going to be balanced. They have to be. And just know that your voice is a weapon. So you exposing the truth, it does bring justice. And I want to be clear, and I want to be careful here. I'm not saying to get on YouTube and just start telling what happened to you, because that, to me, it depends on who you are. For some people, yes, that works. But sometimes that can be very re-traumatizing, because if you share your trauma in the wrong space and you get invalidated, or because you have no control really over who sees your YouTube videos. You can, filter the comments and stuff, but, sometimes the negative ones still slip through. So depending on how like sensitive your situation is, trying to speak out about it in a public space, it can make you feel worse depending on who consumes your video and what they say about it, right? So when I say share your voice, you can do it in different ways. You can do it in ways where it's more private, where maybe on an anonymous account, like you share it on Reddit, and you change some of the details so that, people can't trace who it is. Or maybe on Quora, you could write like a post on that forum, or maybe you can create some type of art about the things that you've been through, where you're not explicitly talking about what happened, but you're channeling the pain into your art. See what I'm saying? That's what I mean by use your voice. But I'm just seeing here that these people, they will not succeed at breaking you. They won't. You definitely will recover. And like I said, the first line of action of justice is exposure, and for you to let it be known what you went through, even if it's not directly. You know what I mean? Talking to somebody about it, creating something about it, even like going and talking to a therapist about it, like just having someone be a witness to what you have been through, And the more you see other women come and speak up and read their stories, the less ashamed you'll feel about what you've been through. And that in itself also is a form of justice, and it starts the healing process. So yeah, you will thrive. In spite of it all, you will thrive, and karmic correction is coming. Trust and believe that. So that's it. That's all I'm seeing. Again, I am open for readings. I'll leave the link to that in the description box down below. I hope this reading was helpful to you in some way. Make sure that you are staying prayed up out here, because everyone is insane. Clearly, there's so many wolves in sheep's clothing walking around. It's terrifying. So yeah, just make sure you're protecting yourself. Make sure you're staying prayed up.